You're going to end up on one of those. You're going to end up on a show here before we know it.
No,
I think you will.
I do not need that kind of pressure. I do not.
Why not?
I cook for people to enjoy. I don't cook for judges.
But what if there was a camera right in your face the whole time and they're asking you questions?
And Guy Fieri at the same time.
Yes.
All right, sold. I'll bring Guy Fieri to Flavortown, baby. No.
Audio, we're good to go.
All right. Hey, hello, everybody. How you doing? I'm Tim Nash. You are listening to Smokin the Process, and I'm here with, as always, my buddy Matt Miller with Back 40 Barbecue.
What's up, everybody?
And so, Smokin the Process, we have some celebrities, some local celebrities here in the studio today. We are here with Z102.9's Eric Hanson and Claire.
Duffy.
Dang it. Thank you, Claire.
But just Claire. Z102.9 is Claire.
Z102.9 is Claire. And they're with the Morning Scramble, and they're doing a podcast tour, and for somehow, I think it was because of Matt's lovely wife, Kim, we made it onto the list. I think it was a promise of barbecue.
Yeah, that's usually that's pretty much how she gets anything.
You were
done
voluntold and we were
Yes.
volunhungry, so
Yes,
it's
fair
a
enough.
good match.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Kim for the win.
Kim for the win. So yeah, just to kind of reintroduce Smokin the Process, especially for Eric and Claire. So Smokin the Process is a podcast that Matt and I started to work with to kind of serve as a resource and help provide tips for small business owners. Matt himself is a small business owner, and we thought it would be interesting to kind of follow him through a year of what it's like to run a small business, or in Matt's situation, catering and a food truck. Have you guys had any of Back 40 Barbecue yet?
Not yet.
I don't think so.
You're going to have some tonight, so you're really going to enjoy it.
Give me an hour.
Yeah,
And I'll give you an answer.
Exactly. So, but we've had some really great guests on. If you need to check out our last episode, we were with Thyron Matthews with TNT Barbecue. He's out of, oh my gosh, what is it, Matt? Owine. I wanted to say Independence. And Thyron Matthews, if you guys don't know, he was the Barbecue Showdown champion on Netflix, which was season 2, correct?
Season
he
2.
was the season 2 barbecue champion.
Yep.
So great. It was a great episode. It was really fun to get to talk to him and talk to what he's thankful for and hear his story.
He's also on Barbecue Brawl right now.
On
With-
Food Network.
Oh,
right?
really?
Food Network with Bobby Flay.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
Byron's really blowing up. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he
check
is.
him out. But so today, I'll be honest. I didn't have a plan for this episode. But I heard that you guys wanted to do one, and so I was like, let's do an episode. So a couple of things. One, Eric and I just want to say Eric and Shannon. I'm sorry, Claire.
I get that a lot.
I'm sure you do. For those of you who don't know, Shannon is Eric's wife.
He also asked me what's my vision? Like, I don't know. Why would I know?
I treat her a lot like Shannon, too. I'm like, what's my favorite color again? Like, we've worked together long enough. You should know these things.
It's great.
Backup spouse.
Work life, you bet.
So Eric and Claire, why don't you just real quick, what brings you to our podcast?
We're currently on a podcast tour, stop by stop. We're just making it up as we go. Somebody invited us on one podcast, and we're like, why don't we just keep going?
I love it. And you were, what were some of the podcasts that you guys been on recently?
We've done the Groove Life with Shane, am I saying that right?
What?
Lunsford.
Lunsford.
As you were mid-drink there.
Yeah, sorry.
We also got to hang out with Nate Kading and the Real Success podcast for Quarter Business Journal.
I mean, I want to check that one out. That sounds like kind of ours, only it's on another level. It's Nate
Yes.
Kading, right? it's like okay.
Honestly, once you get 3 or 4 microphones in a nice room, it's just an easy conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all kind of the
exactly.
same.
So cool. Well, thank you so much for being here. And so something that I thought we would talk a little bit about today, Matt. We haven't really we haven't focused on you lately. Past couple episodes. The episode before Thyron's, we talked about taxes. And but before that, I think we had another guest on. So let's talk about you, Matt. What's going on with you right now in your world of small business and barbecue?
Well, it's been a crazy, month, 6 weeks. We were in Memphis. I went to Memphis with Thyron to be a part of Smoke Slam, which was really, really cool.
And what's Smoke Slam again?
So Smoke Slam it's basically a barbecue festival, and it's a competition. So a lot of people have heard of Memphis in May. This is kind of an offshoot. It's kind of its own thing. I think there's some politics involved that's way beyond my pay grade. But so it's literally scheduled at the exact same time, the same weekend. So I got to be a part of his team for the second year in a row, which was really, really cool. It was a little different this time because I was doing a live shortly after we got on the site before the event had started, and I decided to spray my foot. So
that's
I basically was absolutely worthless. I helped season up some oxtails and some smokehouse burgers, and then I just sat there and roasted in the Delta heat. But it's a cool experience. I mean, Siren brings together a group of people. So obviously I met him a couple years ago at the Marion Barbecue Rendezvous, and that was shortly after the show had been released. I don't even know if it had been out a month. And then good buddy from San Diego, Ricky Farmer, was there. So we kind of got people from all over. We got Khalil Word from Nashville, and then Jasper Moss from right there in Memphis, and then we had somebody else this year. His name is escaping me. Daryl Green, Chef Daryl Green, runs a place called Get Your Grub On in Nashville. If you ever get a chance, check it out. He makes the best Nashville hot chicken that you can possibly imagine.
I thought you had to go to Hattie B's for the best Nashville hot chicken.
Boo! I don't have any.
So
dog in the game.
So what you were saying was, if I heard you correctly, when you went to Smoke Slam last time,
yeah,
it had like the Barbecue Showdown, like it hadn't even aired yet.
No. It had. So I had. This is ridiculous, but so I met Thyron at the Barbecue Rendezvous 2 full years ago. So it would have been May or June, first weekend of June of 23.
So I guess my bottom line was, does he have a pretty good following? Like, were people excited that he was there?
Very, because he was considered one of the celebrity cooks, as well as he helped MC the awards show. It's the biggest prize in barbecue. The purse is $250,000.
Wow.
So him, and then on his season, Logan Sandoval is on there as well. He was there with us. Super nice guy. He's out of LA. So
I remember him. Yeah, he was cool.
Yeah, I've met just incredible people. Throughout the whole thing. It's. I don't feel like I belong there because I mean you've got all these just amazing pit masters and just getting to see them on a personal level and stuff like that's really, really cool. It's really interesting.
If I had to put this into radio terms, are these like the Howard Stern of barbecue? Like that's how high up they are in notoriety?
It's a big deal.
Wow.
I mean, these guys are crazy. So Thyron's manager is from Long Island, New York. So he's from New York City. And it's just wild to meet some of these guys and people that you've seen on TV and I've followed on YouTube and learned from. I'm meeting and I'm befriending them and they know my name and that's weird.
You're gonna end up on one of those. You're gonna end up on a show here before we know it.
No,
I think you will.
I do not need that kind of pressure. I do not.
Why not?
I cook for people to enjoy. I don't cook for judges.
But what if there was a camera right in your face the whole time and they're asking you questions?
And Guy Fieri at the same time.
Yes.
All right, sold. I'll bring Guy Fieri to Flavortown, baby. But, no, so that was a really neat experience, and then we had the Barbecue Rendezvous on the 7th of June, and that's my biggest event every year. And
how was it because it's up at the Uptown now?
Yes, it was insane. The thing is with big events like that is there's just so many variables. one, the weather was awesome. You know, it was overcast, but it didn't rain, which is huge because then you don't have the sun beating on everybody. It was at Uptown, so before we were at Lau Park, you kind of had to go there specifically for that, as opposed to just kind of fall, you know, coming up upon it and be like, oh, sweet, there's a bunch of, I smell some smells, let's go check it out.
Right.
And then, like, there was only 6 of us this year instead of 9 like we had last year, so there wasn't as many vendors. So yeah, that all equaled perfect storm where we just got all got our ass kicked.
I love it.
You know, I was the last one to run out of food. That's because I kept cooking. Like, I was literally on site with my smoker cooking the whole day. Yeah, I just destroyed my all-time high for sales. Like, but it was nuts. But it's just one of those things that it was incredible. Because yeah, when I met Thyron the first time, and that day he asked me if I would go to Memphis with him. He's like, I don't know where we're going, I don't know what we're doing. But he's like, I want you to go with me. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I met you 8 seconds ago, and now, did we just become best friends? You know, so, you know, getting to hang out with him, and he's just one of those guys that's just it's hard to describe. You meet people that are full of shit.
Yeah.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tell. You can tell when somebody's not genuine and you know, they're just totally fake. He is the realest person. And he's a sweet dude. He's become one of my best friends, and he's just a great human. And I'm just blessed to know him, and he says the same about me, and I say, you're full of shit.
So an interesting thing about Thyron, so he's, like you said, like Matt said, he's becoming kind of world renowned. He's doing the show with Bobby Flair right now. This guy still has a full-time job at the prison. Is the prison, isn't it?
Yep.
Still?
Up in Olwine at the prison.
Wow.
Yeah, well,
he's a prison administrator.
But he's got that. He's got that. You know, you got to work to get the pension. You got to lock that pension in, baby. You know, and so I know that he's
very much in conflict
busy,
right now, because it's one of those things where he sees the future and he is as good as what he is.
Oh yeah,
but it's a good job and it's Ipers.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's kind of tough.
Those are good Midwestern sensibilities right there, if you ask me.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, no, so
awesome.
That's kind of been, I mean, we've had several food truck events and got my Cedar Rapids license.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you, because
brother.
You posted on Facebook just recently, and you're like, I'm going to be in Anamosa, and I'm going to be in Marion, and I'm going to be. I'm like, when are you going to be across the street at CRBT? That's what I want to know.
Well, brother, I'll tell you what, we're going to be at Crescent Electric on Thursday, and I believe
just by us. That's our neighborhood. Oh my gosh!
That might be next to these crazy kids.
Oh my gosh!
We're going
Thursday for lunch. We're going to be there 11 to 1:30, and then
this Thursday.
So will I. The entire time.
You will after you try Matt's barbecue. You definitely.
And then we'll be at Sweet Cheesecake later that night. I'm in Monticello tomorrow.
I would love to go to Sweet Cheesecake.
I'm telling you, I'll just bring them everywhere I go, so that way
if you guys work the truck, then he'll get you a slice of sweet cheesecake.
Deal.
I pay terrible, but you get to eat.
You paying cheesecake? You got me.
He pays pretty good. I think he pays I've worked for him twice. He pays $10 an hour. He gives you food, and then the first time I got a slice of cheesecake too.
Sold.
Yeah, I know, right? That ain't bad.
I'm good.
That ain't bad.
But yeah, and then we'll be in Dyersville on Friday. So it's gonna be a busy week. I cooked all day today, and then I'll get up about 4 a.m. tomorrow to get things kind of rocking and rolling put the finishing touches on Monticello, and then as soon as we're done, I'll come right back, and we're gonna get her rocking and rolling again for Thursday's crazy day, and then I think my dad's going to come down and help me while I'm gone, so that way I've got somebody manning the smoker.
So you're crushing this. You're crushing right now. It's the season.
It is, and I've been a lot more aggressive this year. You know, last year it was I don't know what I don't know. You know what I mean? It's kind of learning it all. You know, I it's kind of like drinking from a fire hose, basically. It's just, oh my God, what is going on? But now that I've got a handle on it and I have, you know, really good help. You know, which makes all the difference. You know, shout out to Alyssa if you're listening to this, Chuck, Steve, you know, Jared, my buddies that jump in and help out. I couldn't do it without them because, you know, there's only so many hours in a day and I can only cook so much. So, but yeah, no, we're kind of crushing it right now. I'm doing a private event on the 3rd of July. But yeah, if you a food truck, a barbecue food truck that sells flavor upon flavor. Back 40 barbecue. That's where it's at.
You're gonna start doing commercials now.
No.
Well, that sounded like that was just what you used the voice. You can do it. You got that.
I know a company that sells commercials. And I know a couple of people that read scripts, so just let us know.
We can make it happen.
Is that pretty much what radio stations like exist for? Is to sell? I mean, like, is that how you guys?
We sell air.
You sell air. Exactly.
That's our business.
Exactly.
That's how we get paid. Actually, we exist in the public interest. We have to have an FCC license, so every
of course.
quarter
That makes sense.
we have to report what good we're doing for the community. And then, but as a commercial radio station, you got to operate. We have to sell.
How long have both of you been in the business?
My first time on air probably goes back to 1990 when I was in high school in Washington, Iowa.
Go Washington.
17 years, I think.
Okay.
I started off as an intern, and then I was the producer for the morning show, and then morning show.
Awesome. Any UNI grads by chance? Oh, I'm a UNI grad. They had a broadcasting program, so I know some people that became radio DJs from that.
No, I interned with Z102.9, and I really liked it, and so it just don't go away.
And I started out of high school. I went in because I did a lot of speech and drama, and this local town, it's a local radio station, it's the newspaper on the radio. So the kids who are in the play go in and get an interview kind of like this, and then the guy who's in charge of the staff tapping me on the shoulder like, we're looking for Sunday help. If you're interested, go in that room and read some stuff. And within 2 weeks, I'm playing church services for 2 hours and then really slow golden oldies for 4 hours. So that's how you get, a lot of people in this business kind of just jump in and learn it instead of actually going to school for it.
I did KCCK for night shifts back in 1999 for a semester. So that was fun, but very cool. Well, I think what I was so just kind of talking about like how you guys kind of run the station and whatnot. How have you seen radio change from the 90s, which I remember listening to? Was it Z102.9? I know it was Q. Was it Q? What was it?
This one's
yours.
Throw me the ball. I got this entire segment. So Q103.
Q103. Yep.
Yes.
Till 95.
Yep.
Yes.
And then we tried a 2.5 year failed experiment to go country.
I remember that.
Yep.
That was Max 102.9 20 in a row.
It was all a dream.
It was all a dream. I woke up. It's like, we were in the shower the entire time. Z102.9 debuted June 5th at 5 p.m. First song was Fastball's the Way. From a business standpoint, we did the research in the market. And when Q went off the air, nobody filled the genre.
Interesting.
There was kind of, back then, 96.5 was kind of a middle-of-the-road pop station, but really didn't cheat the edges to either, more dance or more alternative. And since that spot was open, all of the research said, come back, give it a new name, and you will enjoy yourself. And we've been pretty much number 1, number 2 ever since.
Yeah,
awesome.
Definitely. I remember, I think this was 8th grade, Q103, and they had a competition. I think it was every Thursday, and it was like they'd bring in a new song, and then that new song they'd pit it against it. So there'd be one new song, and that song had been the best song for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and then they pit another new song against it, and then that song would does
radio
this song
version
beat this one?
QR or TRL.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably Michelle Steele back in the day hosting the night show.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
So.
most top 40 stations all have that kind of rated at 8 or hot 9 at 9 or whatever countdown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all kind of out of the same playbook, but it works out pretty well.
Very cool, very cool. Any entrepreneurial tendencies outside of radio? I mean, your wife, obviously, she runs her own business.
Yeah, for sure. As I think about coming on all these different podcasts, I'm like, what's this? We can get into the weeds of what radio is, but really I think as we have to approach our show, we're kind of our own product on the radio station. So I think we take a very entrepreneurial approach.
Yeah, because we, there's the station and then there's our show. So we have a brand to maintain, and we try to do all that we can to help make that what we want it to be and what we think it should be.
Very cool.
Well, I think like this concept of going on a podcast tour.
Yeah.
That's a different way to find new audience. It's very low cost, which works out really well. People give us drinks, which is fantastic. Barbecue. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the phrase out of the box because it's cliched, but you have to think in a different way to keep yourself relevant. And especially in the format we're in, where the music's constantly changing and pop culture is constantly changing. How do you stay on the leading edge of that? So that's kind of a challenge we're always in, which we're creating content all the time. Mm-hmm. Everything you hear on the radio didn't exist the day before for the most part, and we flush it and then go into the next day and do it all over again.
Well, I've been pulling up your Morning Scramble, and it's on Spotify as a podcast, and I've been listening to like 3 of them now. So yeah, it's great. You guys have
any notes? Please. No, but we do stuff like that. We do listen back to stuff and try to think about what's a different way we could have attacked that.
Yeah.
You're constantly not criticizing, but learning from your mistakes and growing.
Yeah.
As a professional.
I would think it's similar to what you do. It's like that recipe worked. This recipe's been working for a long time, but I might want to play with it a little bit. Want to tweak it. You can't get too complacent, and even when you're doing very, very well, you have to keep some level of standard because that's what people are expecting. Mm-hmm. So our morning show will always have like a pop culture update called Z Sleaze. That's been around since the radio station started.
I caught that, yeah.
People know what time it is in their morning routine based on when Claire does that. Mm-hmm. So like that's never going to change. How we do the stories, maybe the little drops we put in with the audio sound bites, we can tweak that every time. The stories she's picking every morning, that's always going to change. But some of that you're going to always probably have ribs. You're always probably going to have brisket, right? So you always have those things on the menu, but it's a lot of fun to play with the side dishes too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That it is. I like the creativity. I like messing around.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Now, is the Morning Scramble? I don't know because I haven't listened to it on the radio. But is it you guys talking and then you play a little bit of music and you play some commercials and it's you guys talking again? I mean, is it so? It's not talking commercials talking. It's talking music commercials talking.
Yeah, I mean
the format.
Yeah. There's a little bit of break in there where a minute, 3 minutes. If we're lucky, a 4-minute song. That's a bathroom break. But it's always it's constantly changing. Like what's the next thing we're gonna bring up? What's the topic?
Yeah, if Die with a Smile doesn't go away, because it's a 4-minute song and it's a rarity anymore. Yeah, everything's like Shabuzi in 2.5 minutes. But yeah, it's a music focused radio station. We probably talk the most of all the shows, but it's also in a day part where people aren't spending a ton of, you're in your car basically, and we are a very short drive time market. Mm-hmm. So when you get in your car, we want to give you what you want when you want it. It's a song you want to hear. We want to put a smile on your face, maybe give you the weather so you know what clothes to put on your kids that day, and then just repeat that 1,000 times an hour for 4 hours in a row. But yeah, that's the format of the show.
I mean, the reason I ask, I guess, is because listening to it in podcast form, it's still a very natural conversation. It kind of flows like the sections flow to each other, and then you've got your conversation in between where it's not like these sleaze and like there's another what's the other one that you guys do?
I mean, our typical, so we always start the show with kind of a cold open, very SNL style. That kind of gets the cobwebs out. Then we do a segment called What's on Our Mind.
Okay.
That was actually, that idea that you wake up every morning with something in your head, that's where that came from. So there's always a sound element there. And then we do, it's a news segment, but it's really more of an interactive segment. Z Sleaze is a consistent, and then it just depends on the day. It could be anything from when we fight Jury in a Hurry, Momtroversy, Songversations is popular.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah. What were you guys talking about this? Was that yesterday? You were talking about the birds?
Oh, the wrens.
Oh, we have, So last summer, Dance and Eric Hanson and my husband, maybe not the handiest of fellas, but together they can really get something done. 2 guys and a thing of beer, they can tackle things. So they tackled some household projects, but before they could get to that phase, they built a birdhouse. And the birdhouse now sits outside of Studio Z, and lo and behold, some birds actually moved into it. We were floored. It's like two little wrens, and we think that, we watch them carrying each stick in. It's been like our own private nature show. It's amazing. From a stupid bit of like, you can't build a birdhouse. Oh, look, I built a birdhouse. And birds moved into it. Bam! Wow!
Well, I was listening to it and I was like, okay, is she talking about something she saw this morning before she left? Nope, they're watching them. We're watching them right now. Because you guys, I felt like it was I was getting a play-by-play.
A little play-by-play,
Yeah.
Yeah, some of what we have to do is just kind of talk about your life in real time. I think part of another aspect of this job is to just constantly being observing. And then being able to rattle that off in a story that is entertaining and has a good, beginning, middle, and end. And it's something that we think we can both kind of riff on also at the same time. So, yeah, we're just constantly sourcing, always just alert to see what our surroundings are going to give us, because we never know what random item might come up that can turn into a funny conversation or something people will ask us about at the farmer's market the next Saturday.
And whether that's like our lives or it could be what's going on in the community right now. One of the big bits that we're working on right now is we've got the Freedom Festival, and we've got a boat that we're entering in the Cardboard Boat Regatta. So that's been a big chunk of our focus. Like, what are people talking about? What's going on in Cedar Rapids, in Iowa City, and the surrounding areas?
And you guys do like Instagram, TikTok? Do you have any of that going? Because it's kind of funny because you talk about, you say you got to be observant, and then it's like what's going to hit. What, you might think of something like, oh, I just can't wait to talk about this on the air, and it's just like nobody says anything about it. But then there's just like the most random thing, and that's the thing that really hits.
We were so excited because we saw a trend. People were doing like unpopular opinion or something, and it was like, this is a cartoon character that I find attractive, and we were like, how could we take that and make it our own? And so we did the hill I'm gonna die on. And it was a cake that looked, I asked the Hy-Vee decorators to make it look like an actual hill. And then we just had random opinions, things that we believe that maybe nobody else believes.
Like, close-up magic is the best. And that's a hill I would die on. Or what was yours about cats?
I only like orange cats. They're the only cats I like.
So that's an example of a TikTok trend we jumped on, and it blew up. We were in the 70,000 beyond likes quite quickly. But then the other times you just have to experiment with stuff. Sometimes it lands, sometimes it doesn't. Really, that's more of the fringe. I mean, we know we have to be in those areas as much as on the radio and on podcasts and emceeing events and being at the farmer's market. But yeah, to continue to stay fresh and relevant, we have to kind of show up at all of those places and stay on top of them as best we can too.
Right. I do totally think that really matches kind of an entrepreneurial, like, how do you stay relevant? How do you, because I feel like, and especially like, I see this with like restaurants, with food and stuff, like, you got to keep on, I feel like sometimes folks will do their thing and they'll have their big opening, they'll hit Instagram really hard or TikTok really hard for like a month or two, and then they're like, and they're getting really good business, and so they kind of like fall off and they stop doing it.
Right.
And then like a year later, you're like, oh, such and such is closing, and you're like, yeah, well, they didn't.
That's hard to stay top of mind with people.
Oh my gosh,
No,
yeah,
100% it is, because and the thing is I try. Social media is definitely a struggle for me. I mainly use Facebook just because it feels like that's where my business is coming through, but it's just one of those things where I know Tim and I have talked about, because I now have an Instagram page that I don't do a whole lot with, and I think I have a TikTok and that I need to be better about. But it's like trying to stay on top of all that and quite frankly, cooking takes up a lot of time. But like you said, like. Try to have, at least my philosophy on my food truck and on my food in general is, have your basics, be really, really good at them, and then throw things at them. Because like we experimented, and I got to get back to it, but we did a barbecue spring roll, and it's fire.
Have you been doing them more since I was there?
I have not, because epic fail on the wrap.
Hey man,
exploding.
I think you figured it out. Was it too hot?
So I experimented with the oil temperature, and we made them and we dropped them fresh. We also dropped them after we froze them. 6 in one hand, a half dozen in the other. I got to simply get better at wrapping frickin' egg roll. Because we use not the wontons, but the actual spring roll wrappers, so they're thinner. So there's not a whole lot of room for air. If you get air pockets in there or you allow a crease, the oil gets in there and it's just
explodes.
Explosion of
Could you go to another business that maybe specializes in spring roll wrapping and learn a thing?
Well, I have a neighbor who makes amazing egg rolls, and I've needed to do that, but I'm tired. I'm not gonna lie, I'm tired, guys.
I'm just really a big fan of this idea.
I think you need to explain to Claire what they are, and he does 2 different types.
Yeah, so we did pulled pork and a brisket. And then it's got like the cabbage mix that you would use with like coleslaw. And then we did we home make our own candied jalapenos, and they're fire. They're God, they're good. And then some sharp cheddar cheese. Rolled them up, and then served them with a raspberry chipotle barbecue sauce. And I'll tell you, they were so good. Yeah, they're so good. I mean, it's time consuming, and I got to find the time to mess around with it again. But they turned out really good. You know, we've done that. We've done smash burgers. We do something that's called the back 40 dog, which is a 1/4 pound dog, and we butterfly it, crisp it up on a flat top, and then it's topped with smoked mac and cheese and pulled pork. We do tachos, so instead of chips, it's tater tots, and then we put pulled pork, cheese, and then we top it with the candy jalapenos, and then you can sauce it however you like. But you know, that's the fun part, is the creativity part. But I felt like part of what I was doing was kind of getting away from barbecue roots. You know, because you want to do something that kind of differentiates yourself from anybody. Everybody does pulled pork, everybody does ribs, everybody brisket, etc., etc., etc. And so I was trying to kind of find a few different ways to do it, to kind of differentiate ourselves. And the tachos is a big seller. When we do it, it's just, God, it's so messy with the fryer. You know, and it's always hard during the summer too, because there's no air conditioning in the trailer. So if it's 100 degrees outside, it's 120 in the trailer. Like it is. Yeah. After food truck season, I think I could walk through hell barefoot and not even get a sunburn.
You'll need a blanket.
Exactly.
At that point, yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you want to have your few things and be really good. Because one of the things that I really believe in with any food truck menu is the more items that you put on it, the more confusing it is, and the less chance that you're going to be really good at it. If we've got multiple items, I try to make sure that they all are all incorporated. So like, you know, if I'm doing pulled pork and I'm doing beans and I'm doing ribs and smoked mac, we also do a barbecue Sunday. So it's like a red solo cup. We go beans, pulled pork, smoked mac, and then we top it off with a rib. And yeah, dude, listen, I am not anybody's cardiologist. I am here to make your food taste good. You need to take that up with your doctor.
Are you guys hungry yet?
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah.
All right. So this is something I just thought we'd do real quick, because I wanted to talk a little bit about what you were up to and how you were doing, and now I've got a kind of a quiz, I guess I would call it.
Oh.
Thank you, ChatGPT, for this. So I've got 8 steps to starting a small business. And I want to know, I'm curious to see if you hit any of the steps, none of the steps. This is not, just full disclosure, this is not to badger Matt. This is just to go over the 8 steps to starting a small business for all y'all out there listening. But I want to see which steps Matt has hit.
Step 1 is absolutely hate what you're doing, so that you do something else.
Well, that's actually that's close. That's close. So, step 1 to starting a small business, and this was totally unexpected. Identify a problem to solve.
There we go.
Which problem were we solving, though, Matt?
Mental health.
So it was
what we were
Personal
solving.
problem.
Yeah,
it was your problem.
Yes, it was. It absolutely was.
What need are you filling, and who are you helping?
Anybody who likes good food. That's you know, and that, like, not to give a long-winded story, because I've talked about this before, but food is family and community and all those things, and that's what I feel is, like, yeah, I need to get paid, but there's so much pleasure that I take in feeding people and them, like the nicest things I can hear is that was some of the best XYZ that I've ever had. And, that's what fills the passion bucket. It really does.
Yep. And I think two flows two flows from one, because you already knew. So develop the idea, turn the problem into a product or service. What's your offering? What makes it unique?
That back 40 flavor, baby. That's what makes it unique. It's, I cook on a stick burner, so it's 100% wood. It's not pellet smoke. It's not propane assist. And I'm not poo-pooing anybody who does that. But you get better traditional barbecue smoke flavor when you cook specifically with wood. And of course that's how I learned. I don't even know if I could run a pellet smoker, to be quite frank with you. I do it the old school way, the hard way. And I think that produces the best product.
You'd probably find it's too easy. And
I'd get bored.
You'd lose your skill,
Right,
yeah,
right. The set it and forget it. Easy bake oven sort of situation.
Now, the number 3, and I've talked to you about this one, but did you, and I know the answer, research the market?
No. No, it's so weird because, like, I've always loved to cook. I just have. My grandmother and my mother, taught me, and I always told myself in some capacity that I wanted to do something in food. And no, I mean, there isn't and wasn't a ton. I mean, there's more barbecue places now, and I know one just Westdale Bowl. One just opened up out there
in Westdale Bowl.
Yeah,
is it still Westdale Bowl?
I don't know. Maybe I'm full of shit, but I know a place just opened up, and it's like a 14,000 square foot place.
Yeah,
bowling and
huge.
barbecue. Maybe they had a space.
I don't think that it's bowling anymore.
I think they're putting like bouncy houses in there or something.
Yeah, they said that they put. Yeah, I think there's going to be a whole, but it's a whole thing. Literally just I think the last couple of weeks maybe opened up. But it's just
are they any good?
Hey, that's to be determined.
I don't want to put the new barbecue place in Westdale Bowl on blast or anything.
Oh, here's the deal, man.
That is the question: are they any good?
We have to figure it out. You know what? I think we can do this.
As my kids would say, "Don't yuck my yum." Okay. So you've got the thing is like there's not a ton of places, and you've got Cedar Rapids at 125,000 people. You got Marion at almost 50,000 people. So there's a niche, and I think just as important as filling that need is having a good product. You got to put out quality. You can't just rubber stamp something and not put any love into it. And I think that as corny as it sounds is I love the food. I love what I'm doing. I love the grind. It's as exhausting, of course it is, but it's phenomenal. It's more fun than I could have thought. It's so ridiculous that, when you're when you're younger, they're like, you keep that up, you're gonna end up working at McDonald's and you're gonna be flipping fries. Well, now I do it and I like it. So you go ahead and go to hell. But it's just one of those things that you got to find your passion, and it just so happened to take me, until I was in my mid 40s to find it. But it's what's right for me. It's not what's right for everybody else. It's a lot of work. You make mistakes, you learn. It just like anything else, but
Well, it's interesting. I feel like when I think of small business owners, I think of like there's really two different types, and there's like, so I would say you found the thing you loved, and you want to do that thing, and make a living at it, and then there's people that they're just entrepreneurs. I like Steve Schreiber locally. He's one of those guys like that. Steve just he loves starting businesses, and he'll just knock them out and he'll get them going and he'll like go to the next big idea, which is cool. But I think in that vein, he just becomes really good at like what's the format? How do I do it? I know how to do this. Okay, apply it. Tweak here. Get it going on to the next one. Whereas like with you, it's like, okay, I need to figure out. You're just gonna have the one business.
Yep.
This is like because you love barbecue.
Yes, sir.
And so it's like almost, for you, it's I think the thing that I just heard from you, and we've said it before, but if you're going to go into it, make sure you love it.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you aren't just opening a business, just open a business.
Right.
If that's the only thing that you're going to do, because if you don't like flipping burgers,
well, and that's the thing is like, you have to have some passion for what you're doing. Otherwise, chances are you're going to suck. You're not going to be very good at it, and you're going to be miserable. Because the thing is like, working at in my previous position at big box retailer, it's a guaranteed paycheck. You know what you're going to get every week.
Mm-hmm.
That it just is what it is. It doesn't matter whether it's the best week ever or you feel like putting your head in the oven. It's just one of those things that you have to be willing to bet on yourself. And for the longest time, I wasn't. I was scared. Lived my life scared. And, at some point, you just got to be like, you know what? You got to take a step off the cliff. And, I think the scariest thing was that. That's been the hardest part of all, was finding the courage to just do it. Because it's easy to talk, it's easy to, and sometimes it's just, you'd rather deal with the devil that than the one that you don't. You'd rather be miserable than possibly risk everything, but maybe be happy.
Yeah.
Rock and roll, baby.
I don't know, can you have a 3-circle Venn diagram? Because I feel like what you're talking about is similar for us. We put ourselves out there every day, tell stories, don't know if things are going to work or not work. I would guess real estate is also very similar too, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It is grind. It is doing things people want to do. Nobody wants to get up after 3 a.m. unless you're smoking ribs or getting ready to go on the radio and talk about Sabrina Carpenter. You just don't know what the day's going to hold.
Yeah.
But you have to keep doing it. You have to fail and find some successes. And I think all 4 of us would agree, 5, once you find that thing that keeps bringing you back, then whether it's a steady paycheck or just knowing at the end of 4 hours we had a great time because we made each other laugh, that's the thing that keeps bringing you back. I'm guessing people saying to you, that's the best brisket I've ever had.
Yeah.
It's not that you made that much money on that slice, right? It's the fact that you got that compliment.
100%. 100%. And the thing is, when you look at it, the 4 of us, we're all in the service industry, right? One way or another. I'm serving food. You guys are serving up laughs and radio, and this guy's, buying and selling your next house. So, and this guy right here is making the world go around with beautiful music.
This guy's touring the country.
Yes,
Thank
he
you.
is.
Shout out to Tone the Boss.
Absolutely. So it's
Thank you.
so it's just one of those things that you find your thing, and some people are super lucky and they just know it. They walk out of high school and they're like, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. They do it for 45 years and then they whatever, and then there's the rest of us.
Sometimes it takes a while.
Yeah.
Well, step 4 is create a business plan.
My plan was make money.
It's a 1-sentence business plan.
It's like that
money.
episode of South Park where it's like the underpants gnomes, where step 1, steal underpants. Step 2, step 3, profit. So I've been good my whole life at going to the school of hard knocks. Once again, kind of drinking from the fire hose. And that's just how I learn. That's how I learn best is put myself in an uncomfortable situation and figure it out.
So one thing I would say now is, now that you did that, you're drinking from the fire hose, and now you're in your 3rd year, right?
Second.
Okay. 2nd year. So now maybe take some time out. And I'm saying this to you, but maybe I'm saying this also to people who are listening to this, that are small business owners that are in the same boat as you. Maybe now you can take a step back and you can create that business plan. I'll tell you, ChatGPT is amazing. Because you can.
I've tried. I was messing around with it the other day. I just downloaded it here not too long because I'm like, okay, you're old and you don't know jack about technology. That's what my wife is for. She's amazing. She's amazing. I'm lucky if I could turn the computer on, but she's phenomenal about that sort of stuff. But I've started kind of messing around because it's like, okay, good, bad, indifferent. AI is here to stay, and I'd rather try to figure some of this stuff out than get run over by it. So.
Well, and the thing that I read, do you guys use AI for, like, do ChatGPT or anything in your business?
I mean, we've messed around with some bits that we've used it to like roast us, and
Oh, sure,
we'll do
sure.
a reading of that. But there is a lot of technology that can be applied to certain aspects of what we do. You know, you can do stuff, amazing things with voice now.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I find it I use it to I use it to like do stuff quicker. Like an email. Like I'll have an email format for if we get an offer and I have all the details of that and then I just like fill in the blanks and send it. Like stuff like that. So there, that's how I use it. I did the first time I downloaded, I was at my National Guard unit and I was telling the guys about it, and one of my buddies says, "Hey, have it write a dirty home description for a listing." And so you tell it, you're just like, okay, ChatGPT, okay, now make it sexually suggestive or something like that.
Dirtier. Dirtier.
No, exactly.
Even dirtier.
Yeah, exactly. It got pretty good.
Why is there a pizza delivery man coming in the middle of the home description? That makes no sense.
Sir, I'm sorry, I don't have any money.
OMG.
All down payments accepted.
Down payment. All right.
You downloaded it, right? You have it.
I'm trying to find it. I want to, like, if I can really see if I can find it. Dirty
Oh my god, this is gonna get wild.
listing. No, it was a long time ago.
We do a segment sometimes we call Morning Scramble Readers Theater. So if you want to email that to us and
Yes.
you think it's appropriate, we might work it on.
I'm gonna guess it wasn't.
Well, no, it was all innuendo, so it wasn't.
We've done like
Yeah, I
misconnections
can
on Craigslist. We've done fights on Facebook. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot
Oh,
of
that's
fun.
fantastic.
Okay, well, let's see here. I got to get back to my business tips. Enough of this.
Back
talk
to
about
business.
this. Back
You guys
to
are
business.
terrible.
It's so important.
Tim and I are trying to talk business over here.
What would you say our business plan was for the Morning Scramble? Do we have one?
What was your vision?
Didn't we? Didn't we have a plan? What was the plan? As
How
long
about-
as we have fun each day. I mean, that's like, okay.
So, how long have you two been together?
The show debuted in September of 2018, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dates.
And you knew each other
So
pretty
that
well
long.
before?
No.
No. I tried radio sales for a year. It was, let's be honest, 6 months, 8 months. I was not very good at it. I just didn't like it. And got to work with Claire a little bit there, but that relationship from a sales perspective to the on-air talent is completely different than just being in a room with them. When we knew Scott Schulte was leaving, I actually was auditioned and didn't know it. He was out of town for a couple of trips, and they brought me in, and then I got the offer. And then my favorite day was within a week or two, Claire just turns to me and she puts her hand out. It's like, I look forward to working with you. And I'm like, this is gonna be the squarest, weirdest relationship ever. But no, we fortunately hit it off. Chemistry's hard to fake. And I don't know when and where, but I feel like within the first hour, it clicked. We both are from small towns. I think it helps a lot. We've got acting and improv backgrounds. I think that helps a lot. Passion for the industry and knowing what radio can really do, especially from a local standpoint. We're locally owned. So I think all of those components really kind of mesh together. The only thing I remember when we were planning the show out was, the town runs through the show. We need to be friends in our community. We need to save our town when it needs us. Mm-hmm. Stay in our lanes. So be true to who you are as a person. That kind of becomes your character on the show. Yes, and everything. Don't poo-poo. I mean, ideas could be good and bad, right? But whatever's presented in the moment on the radio, you've got to run with it because you got to make your partner look good. And that's been really kind of our philosophy the entire time.
Yeah, and knowing when to pitch in and strengths and weaknesses too. Because I would say that we both have a high desire to achieve and to for success for the show, which bodes well for us because we're always in it together. But I think you're more of take charge and let's do this, make a list, da, 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I'm right behind you. Of course.
So you're the cheerleader.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with gender. It's just you're the cheerleader.
No, I'm a little bit more like, yeah, yes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's skill set. We've done color profiles, we've done strengths finder. It's good to know what you're good at and what you're not so good at, and how those can all mesh together. I have a unique position on the show because I'm running the equipment, so she knows I need to feel like I'm in control. That's just how I'm wired. She also knows that she really runs the show. So it works both ways.
So you're married.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
That's basically what it is.
Yes, but like you're more direct with people and things, and I'm more emotional, like just kind of getting a read of the room and how everybody's feeling, and I'm just more in tune with that. So I think are a really good yin yang kind of fit when it comes to that stuff.
I mean, it is a partnership. I mean, in that same vein of like what a marriage is, it's a partnership. You guys are making me jealous because I'm just like, I don't have anybody to bounce my ideas off.
You got dirty chat GPT. You're fine.
I got dirty chat. That's exactly right. No, it is. I am trying to figure out, like, this could be my assistant. I need to put my systems in place.
I think, actually, because I have a love-hate relationship with it, I think where it's starting to steal creativity, that scares me a lot.
Of course.
Lyric writing. If we know we're using it to roast us and we acknowledge that the fun is coming from it, I'm okay with it. When we sat down and we wrote a soap opera about the wren and birdhouse that lived outside, we talked about letting it, but I'm like, that's a thing that we do, and we can sell that. And if we lose that edge, then what else is? So there are some times that we might want to lean that way, but you can't, and you have to really just rely on yourself and creativity. And storytelling is important, and being who we are is important. We have to be real and human. So yeah, it's a tool as long as it's used, I think, as a tool.
Right, because nobody knows barbecue like you, Matt. Like, you can't just say, like, come up with some new recipe. You have to own that, right?
Right. No,
yeah, and I do think that, like, with chat, I mean, I know that one thing in real estate, one thing that, like, we're seeing a lot is with Instagram Reels, like, people are having ChatGPT just it's like, hey, just create it. And the thing that I'll do with my Reels, it's me talking. And if my voice doesn't come through me, I mean, like, I could read a script that ChatGPT creates or memorize it, but if it doesn't feel like me, then I don't feel right about it, because I want that genuine. When you're in real estate, you get to a certain point and you can kind of handle most situations that come down the pipe, and so once you get past that, you're selling yourself.
That's what all four of us, again, are selling, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
The relationship you have with your realtor, I think, makes or breaks whether you're selling or buying. Working and listening to our station, you could get 4 hours of some recorded news and weather, and we could run Entertainment Tonight drops, right, and still play the same songs, but it's not the same show because there's a relationship there, and certainly there's trust. Like, I gotta find that food truck that's my favorite guy and my favorite food or recipe. Yeah, it's all about that personal relationship, which luckily ChatGPT can't do.
Well, and have you noticed with podcasts, if you start a new podcast, because they're covering a topic that you like, and then you get into it and you get to know the personalities, it becomes so much more. It's you're getting the information you want, but it's through people that you feel like you know, and that's why, like, the one that there's a couple podcasts, but, like, I'll always try to get my wife to, you need to listen to this, and sometimes the personalities are too much for her. They're like, they talk too much. They need to get to the information. I was like, well, if you get to know them, if you get to know the personalities, it makes the podcast that much more enjoyable, because you're getting the product that you want, and you're getting it from people that you almost trust. Yeah.
And you're on an inside joke too, right? You understand what's going on, or why they're doing this bit right now. Yeah.
Yep. No, I love it. Well, that's good. So I know you did this, Matt. Registered the business and handled the legal stuff.
Yes.
Woo!
Did you do that right away?
I did. One of the things that was really important to us was just making sure that we had everything aligned, in honesty to protect my family, because the thing is unfortunately we live in a very litigious society, and, sometimes people are part of the Something for Nothing Corporation. So one of the things that I made sure we did is that we're an S corp, we're a corporation. I got an attorney, which also is the mayor of Marion.
Nick's your guy?
Shout out Mayor Nick.
Love Mayor Nick.
I've got an accountant because those are the sorts of things. Here, I think one of the big things is identifying what you're good
welcome.
at. Yes. Tell you what, I'm going to take you out for a nice fish sandwich.
I don't even get any of his barbecue. I get a fish sandwich.
Fish sandwich?
But, I think identifying what you're good at and what you're not. And there are certain things that you can grow to get better at. And there's some things where I don't really care to get better at. And, it's one of those things where there's only so many hours in a day. So, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not an accountant. And knowing that full well, I pay people to do that for me. So,
but it's good to know you have a safety net. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention who came after us, but we used some audio on the radio and got a cease and desist, and we thought we had the rights to it. And the station had to pay something, and then it changed a rule in the building as to where audio was sourced from. So knowing boundaries is really important, but also knowing too. Again, sometimes we'll just talk, and then you realize maybe after you said something, even though I think the opinion was coming from a true place, it may have been perceived wrong, and then all of a sudden you'll get angry emails or phone calls, and at least having people there to back you up. And we've been very fortunate to always have, so we would report to what's known as the program director at the radio station, and that's kind of comes with the territory too. If you're playing a song too much and they want you to play something else, or I didn't like what you said about this, that goes to that person. And luckily, we've always had very good people in that role who sometimes you just got to take it, right? But it's good to have those backup people and the people who are there to protect you.
100%. And that's the thing is, my wife is she's very organized. I'm very not. Okay? So anything that I need from a standpoint of, if all of a sudden I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay. So she worked for the American Cancer Society for 17 years and did, the Relay for Life and the whole thing. So she's very, very, bop, bop, bop. Did you remember this? Don't forget about X. Just having a good support system has been important. I know I've talked about that in the past, but yeah, 100%. I'm good at the things I'm good at, and I'm not good at the things I'm not good at. And having the ability to know the difference is a big difference.
This is why I keep trying to get Kate to get her real estate license. She's the organized one. Oh, jeez. Well, good job on that. Now, did you figure out your money? Did you set a budget?
Oh, that's tough.
For
your business?
Yeah. So basically, I've got a sales goal based off of what we did last year. First year, I don't even know if I should say this, but we were actually profitable in our first year. So, which is obviously that's very hard to do, especially because there's so many large purchases. Mm-hmm. Buying a food trailer, buying a smoker when you didn't ask your wife, that sort of stuff.
Go back to our first episode. Episode 1, you can hear that.
1, yes. And if there's one thing that I've learned in this life, do not buy a $15,000 smoker without talking to your wife about it. That's the last time that'll ever happen, by the way. But yeah, I think...
My husband once bought a rowing machine. I understand. I get it. I am Kate.
He's making money off that rowing machine, though, right? He's using that to,
No, he's not. It sits in the basement. Nobody's used that thing in years.
And you can't even hang clothes on a rowing machine. At least get an elliptical. Come on.
Right?
You know what? And I take it back. You're probably using this stuff, right?
He's using the smoke.
Good. You use it, right?
I use it a lot.
Well,
Good.
But wait. What's the one you got made down in Texas? That's a new one, though. That's not the same smoker,
No, that's
right?
the same smoker.
That's the same smoker.
That's the same smoker. That's
Good.
That's the Viola Rose.
You need to just use that one.
Oh, yeah, trust me. That thing, I might be buried in it. That'll save some money on the old casket. But yeah, no. I don't even, what were we talking about?
We were talking about setting a budget.
Oh yeah. So the biggest thing is I just try to set sales goals for myself, based off of what we did last year. Kind of
How did you know year one though? How do you set those?
You drink from the water hose.
Go back.
It was one of those things where, I said yes to everything, regardless of whether I should have or not.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody offers me an opportunity, yes. You already have 26 minutes, yes. And you learn pretty quickly the right questions to ask. Is this a first-year event? How many people are coming? How many other food vendors are going to be there? Do you also have other barbecue vendors there? Those sorts of things are very important questions to ask because, I've been asked to do a food truck event where there's going to be 4 trucks and 200 people. Roughly half the people at a festival eat. That's 100 people for 4 food trucks. That's 25 people potentially. That's not good.
You need more.
Yeah. So, and I actually had the conversation with and that's the thing is I'm honest, but I'm also kind. I don't you don't want to sit there and be like, what the heck are you talking? You just walk them through it. There's got to be enough for everybody to eat. If you're going to have X amount of trucks, you need to have X amount of people. I said, yes, you're looking at it as you want to have variety for your guests. Fantastic. I think that's awesome. But, this may not be the event for me. And that's the thing is like, if you take on a really big event and something catastrophic happens, then you can lose your ass. So you got to be really, really careful, ask the right questions, and just put your best foot forward. The first year, I didn't look at any of those situations where maybe it wasn't quite as successful as what I was looking at. I looked at it as a learning opportunity. And I think that helped because it can be pretty easy to get down on yourself when you're like, you put so much work into something and you basically break even on it. And it's just one of those things where you learn. You learn to say no. You learn to ask the right questions. And that's basically it.
I think you got to think big picture too. Like when those are lessons learned, and that's going to help you further down the road.
100%.
So the number 7 is build your brand, and I think you're doing a great job at that. Well, I think you've already got that going.
And it's funny because I kind of had the concept because we had a couple different names that we were going to go with, and it just back 40. Just it's rustic. You think. 40 acres on a farm, the back, the kind of unused portion of the farm. And then you think, obviously we're in Iowa. I'm a very, very proud Iowan. I'm very proud to be from here. So that when we came up with our logo, that was kind of the thing was it needs to be the state of Iowa. It needs to be red and it needs to say back 40 barbecue. And that's the framework. I don't want a bunch of hogs on fire and all kinds of crazy shit. I want you to look at it and know that it's barbecue without saying that it's barbecue.
And know that it's Iowa without saying that it's Iowa.
That's right, except
with your logo.
Well, 100%. And that's the thing is you get a lot of, or Ohio, because there's a lot of stupid people. Ohio and Iowa. It's so funny story is there's a back 40 barbecue in Ohio.
Mm-hmm, there sure is.
I got a call from somebody in Ohio about back 40 barbecue, and I was like, I want to make sure that you understand that there is one in Ohio. She goes, yes, but we actually want to use you because they were coming from Ohio as a corporate entity to come and do something here in town. And I was like, what the hell are the chances of that?
That's awesome.
I literally think it said like Akron or Columbus or something like that. And I was like, okay, this is very odd. But I'm glad I returned that phone call because I know that made a really good job.
That's a great twist, though, because I thought you were just going to say, yep, somebody called me and I said, there's a back 49. And they're like, oh, no, and then hung up. That was, no, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I've had posts on too about being at a certain place or location or whatever, and somebody was like, we were at your location, it sucked, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we came to your business, to your restaurant, and I was like, where was this? Because obviously if it's something that we did, I'm going to make it right.
But you don't have a restaurant.
In Ohio. And then they just started kind of shitting on me. I was like, bro, I'm a food truck in Iowa. Like I appreciate the feedback.
Was this on the internet or was this a phone call?
It was Facebook. It was on Facebook.
Oh, it was
yeah.
Facebook,
I post.
yeah.
You know, it was one of those things where I posted where I was going to be, and you suck. And then some random guy from Texas gets on. He's like, "You Iowa people don't know how to make none of that barbecue. You got to come to Texas."
And you say watch Barbecue Showdown season 2.
Well, I said, bend over and say, but no, I was polite. I simply said, thank you for your input, and I blocked his ass. But, you know, it's just one of those things. People are, but it's funny because, I mean, obviously, you know, that was one thing that I did a lot of research on because, there's back 40 barbecues in other states and stuff like that. And there might even be one in the state of Iowa, but it's, you know, it's not like somebody's going to confuse me for, well, maybe somebody will confuse me for somebody in Ohio. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think brand-wise, it's simple and it's clean, and that's what I wanted my logo to be. I didn't want, like when we did my food trailer, I didn't want it to be you want it to be to advertise, but I didn't want to be a walking billboard. I didn't want to have flames and all kinds of crazy stuff. Because, you know, when people do that, and that's right for them, but that's not who I am. I'm a little bit more substance and flash, I think, and that's kind of what we do.
Sure. I do like, how long have you had those hats for?
This is the original.
That's the original.
I wanted to bring it out today. This is my original hat. This one was, it was the very first one. This was actually before I even had the business.
I've got the flex fitted one, and I was like, oh, you give me that one, and now you get a new hat. But that's the original hat.
No. Yeah, this is the very first iteration of it that we had. This was even before I was incorporated. That's how much I believed in what I was doing and how important it was for me to do it. Was I just freaking went for it. But yeah, no, this is the original hats that we got. The second round we did, I went cheap on them and they look like shit, and I hated them. And this last batch I really like. They're very breathable. They need to be because it's 5 million degrees in the trailer, but you know, and I'm looking at possibly getting some new ones, but yeah.
So last step, and I'll go through real quick, folks, at the end. But the last step is launch and adapt. So Matt, when are you hiring people, and what's the next step?
I'm not looking to hire anybody. The nice thing about having a food truck and stuff like that is I generally will use independent contractors, and then I'm blessed enough to have people who will work for food and a handshake. So, you know, but do
you have a here? I guess this is a better question. Do you have a number in mind where you're like, okay, I'm starting like growing? You know, like when, you know, how what's your plan for getting a little bit bigger? And, you know,
it's not so much a number as it is just knowing how many events we're doing and having that flexibility. You know, I think ever since COVID, the landscape of hiring is very different. It's at times pretty challenging. And the thing is as a small business, you know, I can't just be like, hey, you know what, $20 an hour, come on down. You know, that's not realistic for a small business like me, which is why I end up doing a majority of the work myself, you know. But, you know, I'm lucky to have great relationships with a lot of great people that'll, you know, because at any given time, I usually only need 2 to maybe 3 people in the truck unless we're doing a crazy event. And then if we're doing a wedding, depending on the size, the biggest wedding we've done is 450 people. And we did that with 4 people and then me on the smoker.
So let's not think about the obvious. Let's not think about help on the truck. What would be the first job that you would hire if you think about the day-to-day and you think about what you need to do, and if you need to take stuff off your plate, what would be the first type of person you would hire? Would it be a marketing person? Would it be an assistant? Would it be a...
I think an assistant would be the biggest thing, is just, you know, because, you know, and my dad, God bless him, he'll come out and he'll help us as well. He's awesome, but he's also, you know, 71 years old, and he's about ready to get a new knee next month and stuff like that. So
that's exciting.
You know, he's a ball of laughs.
What do your kids make of all of it? Do they get involved in the business?
They really so.
They've worked the truck, haven't they?
No.
Oh
God, no. That would be.
They're still pretty young.
I thought you had one of them. I thought you had one of them running the register one time.
But do they find it interesting or?
Yeah. So like, it's funny. They find it interesting until I ask for them to do something. They're like, oh, "This sucks."
That sounds familiar. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
What the hell are we doing here? But so like, my son Blake very much likes cooking. He's helped me stir mac and cheese. Like he's helped me. He's asking a lot of questions about the smoker and when you put wood in, can I put the wood in? It's one of those things that I think it's good for them to see what I'm doing and to be a part of it. And the thing is yeah, I would love them to help for high school, and AKA they're going to help. But
I had to ask kids. This is for you.
Yes, no, but. It's one of those things that, like, I have no expectation of them, when I go to retire or anything like that. I have no expectation that they're going to want to take it on. And I want each of them to be successful in their own way and do their own thing. If this is something, if this is like my son Blake going into, I think, from first grade going into second grade, was asked from his teacher at the last day, what's your future hold? Like, I want to take over my dad's business. Like bringing a tear to my eye, like that was heavy, knowing full well that he also wants to play in the friggin' NBA. So it's being realistic about it and supporting him in whatever way I can. But it's do they show interest? They think it's cool. They think it's cool. Dad has a food truck, and anytime they get a chance to go inside and look, and that's always fun. But anymore, I don't think it's quite as fun just because we've had it for a couple of years. So.
As they get older, Matt, one thing to look up is, one of the ways that a lot of people will work around, like there's some, I don't know what it is, tax things, but put your kids on the payroll.
You can pay them up to X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
I've already looked.
My buddy, he owns rental properties, and he has his 13-year-old do the books, and it's good practice for her, and he actually will double check the math. But I mean, it's like. But then he pays her, and I don't think I think he might pay her she might get a quarter of what he actually pays, and then he'll put the rest in a college fund or something that. Yeah.
Well, they get it. They each get $1 every time that they empty out my ash bucket. So by the time they're 175 years old, they'll be able to afford a pair of tennis shoes. So, but it's one of those things that I want them to see. I guess one of the things is I want them to know and understand what hard work is. I don't want them to ever be at a point where, they think that they can just kind of get on by and.
Well, and if they want money, you can always be like, well, you can work the food truck on Thursday night and you can get some money.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that. And they're all about it until all of a sudden a friend comes over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, where'd you go? Oh, you went to the school of bigger, better deal. I see how it is.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's interesting to see what their interest level is and that stuff. And like I said, I have no expectations whatsoever. But because my wife, Kim, I love you very, very much. Could not give two craps about the food truck, or she'll help me where it's needed. And she's like, I'm not cooking. I'm not doing that stuff. That's just not her strength, and that's not something that she that she cares about, and that's fine. I'm not trying to drag her along. I'm not expecting her to become Pitmaster 2.0. But where I need help, she's more than helpful, and that's what's important to me. So,
well, we got through so the 8 steps to starting a small business. 1 is identify a problem to solve. 2 is develop the idea. 3, research the market. Matt. 4, create a business plan. 5, register the business plan and handle legal stuff. 6, figure out your money. 7, build your brand. 8, launch and adapt. So those are the 8 steps to starting your small business.
And barbecue in general is adapt. Plan A is fun. There is no such thing as plan A. There's stuff that's going to happen. It's going to go wrong. I've had it where we couldn't get a pilot light lit on something in the trailer, and it's like, oh shit, I'm on the phone, Daddy.
Do you know David Redmond?
No.
So David owns the I'm Soul Hungry food truck. Great guy. His food is fantastic. He parked. I ran into him. I was coming out of the men's room. I got my hair cut, and he was parked in front, and his propane tank wasn't working, and he was freaking out, and he was just trying to get me. I was like, I wish I could help. It's like, no, it's all. He got it running. But I mean, yeah, there's just those things are going to happen. It's
100%. And that's why like my whole life I've had to be early because my family, let's say when I was a kid, not early. We were the last family to every function, and it just drove. You want to talk about anxiety? So I am to every event an hour early, just in case we forget something or something doesn't work, or because the worst possible thing that can happen is just that we get all the way to a location and we can't work. We can't make it happen, and that's that's embarrassing. And sometimes you only get one chance, so you got to make the best of it.
Yeah, definitely. Eric and Claire, anything to add? Have you guys got any thoughts?
Those stories about like propane not working. I paid for basically beer in college by being a mobile DJ, and found out early like if you blow a fuse right in your sound equipment, same concept. So if the propane doesn't work, so being adaptable, having a plan, having backups, whether it's coming with fuses or finding out where Radio Shack, when that was still a store, is available, know where to go there. We have to do that a lot.
Yeah.
We'll bring topics up or think we've landed on a good idea. We do a segment called Momtroversy where we take things are going on in homes and families and let the audience kind of crowdsource ideas. Sometimes they're in real life. Sometimes we make them up. But if it's not getting any traction, we still have to stay with it, right? We're still cooking the food. We just have to figure out how to maybe present it in a different way. And at least doing that, because it's going to get a response. It's just sometimes we just started maybe on the wrong foot.
And so how do we diversify? How do we pivot and do different things? We can either repackage it a different way, ask the question in a different way, or maybe turn to social media, ask people on there and read the comments out loud. We'd love to get a phone call, but if that's not working, there's other things that we can do. Or maybe just like, maybe we would take it as far a break as we normally would, just kind of pivot to a different topic. What else do we have? What's going on in the world today that we can pivot to?
Well, yeah, very cool. Well, okay. Well, I think that Matt, thank you for sharing. We really focused on you a lot today, and got to know what's going on with you. When you work if you get on the CRVT list, you let me know, because I'll work that, and I'll let everybody know in the Skogman building across the street that I don't know if I'm a celebrity. I don't know if it's like celebrity bartending, but I'll be like, hey, I'll be working that food truck for Matt across the street. Come visit us, and you get all the realtors over there.
He makes a good drink.
Yeah, and then I'll go steal all the cookies at the bank, and I'll be the cookie guy.
Oh,
this is a good plan. This works out really well. Yeah.
Like the Cookie Monster?
Either way, I probably shouldn't say steal and bank in the same sentence. I've now realized that was a bad idea. Sorry, James Klein.
You just hung up on a watch.
Good luck ever banking there again.
Oh, jeez. Well, but so we're getting kind of close to the end of the podcast, and I thank everybody for showing up. I do have a movie and a book. So for the book, and I don't know if you guys know our friend Lindsay Leahy, right?
We're reading that book right now.
We're currently reading that book right now.
Do you have this on here, Tone? I just want to make sure folks are seeing it. So our good friend Lindsay Leahy, I've known Lindsay for a number of years. I worked with her when I did blood drives back when I was working for the Blood Center. But she wrote a book, Take It All Apart, and she's with the Restoration Project here in Cedar Rapids. This is a fantastic book, and it's a good. It's just a really great book to read and kind of help you take it all apart, simplify things, and kind of figure out what your actual goals are and everything. So wanted to shout out to Lindsay Leahy for that. And then I got a movie. So are you guys movie people?
Yeah.
Everybody likes movies, right? Have you guys heard of the movie Snack Shack?
No.
Matt?
I don't think so.
This is new or old?
Nope.
It's brand new. Well, not brand new. It's probably about 2 years old, and it was an independent film. It came out. I don't think it was like shot in Iowa or anything, but It's a great movie about these two high school kids. Oh, the reason I think about it in Iowa is because it takes place in Nebraska. It starts in a casino across the river in Council Bluffs. That's how the movie opens up. And it's these two and they're kids. They're like 15, 16-year-olds, and they're betting on a horse. And they're, you know, and that's how the movie starts out. And then the race ends. They get their winnings, and then they're hurrying back to somewhere, and you realize that they're on a field trip at the Omaha Zoo, and they got to get back to their bus so their bus can go drive back to the high school. So this is how you found out that these high school kids. But anyway, it's called Snack Shack, and bottom line is it's a summer movie, and it's about these two kids, and I guess it's based on a true story, like the writer-director wrote all this. And it's basically about these two kids that start they run the Snack Shack at the local pool. And but it's such a good movie from a small business standpoint. It's so funny because it's this great summer movie, and it's a straight up teen comedy. It's got heart, but it's a straight up teen comedy. But these guys are born entrepreneurs, and you watch them, and you like they're brewing beer, they're selling. Have you guys ever had somebody stop at your house and offer to spray paint your house number on the curb? Yeah, they do that, and then they're selling stuff out of their backpack. Like these guys, they're always thinking, they're always like trying, like what's the next move? What they're hustling, and they're these 16-year-olds, and you watch it, and it's a very good movie, and it. Kate and I watched it, and it was immediately like I think we've watched it twice since, and it immediately hit like our movie of like if you're ever with your spouse and you want to like watch a movie and it's not like you want to watch something new that you want to pay attention to, but it's something that you want to fall asleep to, you just want to kind of have on the background. This was immediately on our list. So it's called Snack Shack, and it makes you want to get out there and hustle. You see these kids that have all this drive, and you're like, oh man, I gotta start pulling up listings and finding that next investment property. You know.
Where did you find this?
I think you find it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It looks like it's available on
It's
Prime.
super, and it's fun. It is such a fun.
82% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep. Easy movie, very enjoyable. So, Snack Shack is the movie. The book is Take It All Apart by Lindsay Leahy. Any final thoughts? Any final words, folks?
No, just thank you guys for coming.
Yeah, we really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing the tour, and we really appreciate y'all being here. Tone the Boss, thank you so much for taking one of your 2 nights off on your national tour to record the podcast for us. I'm Tim Nash with Skogman Realty. Matt Miller with Back 40 Barbecue.
What's up?
All right, thanks so much, guys. Y'all have a great month, summer, whatever you got going on.
Thank you.